Well, all right. Why isn't this playing? There we go. All right. Welcome to Transformational Thursday. So I'd have some fun with that. Welcome to Transformational Thursday. And are you watching your TV? So what does that mean? Your TV, your transformational vocabulary. What are the words you are using? And now, this is not a conversation around, there's a saying, where the pen is mightier than the sword. And there are people who sometimes take great offense to actual words that are being used. And, there's a saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And there's huge amounts of truth to that. And the fact is that if you are easily offended, that is a separate conversation around transformational vocabulary, because we beat ourselves up, don't we? Oftentimes we are the guilty ones. So if you're feeling offended, and I just put out there, if you get easily offended, I strongly recommend that you look at, is it because you're constantly beating yourself up in the first place? Is it that maybe we have this conversation going on in our head of I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, or we're actually pointing out and noticing other people's foibles? And this is something that we're doing is we're programming ourselves. I remember one time many moons ago, I was in a room with someone, and they grabbed a bunch of rag mags. If you remember those rag mags, those kind of magazines where it shows, can you believe so and so is wearing this, and those pictures, those magazines at the checkout counter, the impulse buys that are all talking about people. And so she's looking at it, and she then picks up the phone and calls her sister, and is like, can you believe, and what was in there? And then I noticed, I was like, oh my gosh, this is essentially how she feels everyone is talking about her. That she thinks that everyone's walking around judging, and there was a point where she's like, almost agoraphobic, where she wouldn't leave the house. And then I realized, well, no wonder. If the programming that's going on is thinking that everyone is thinking, because that's what happens. We think that everybody thinks the way we do, right? We live in our own vacuum, and then we hang out with other people who are in that vacuum to justify and make that okay, and have those friends and people to go, oh yeah, an agreement. So this is like the internal culture, which goes into the external culture, and it's all built upon the language we use. And our language is constructive or destructive. So notice, are your habitual words, your habitual language constructive, meaning are they constructive, building you up? Are you creating new opportunities? Are you breaking through barriers? Or is it destructive, where it's preventing you from taking action? Are you allowing that internal dialogue to slow you down? Or, and this is where then one would bring up the pen is mightier than the sword. Have you listened to other people's language and bought into it? Maybe they said something to you, or maybe they said something out loud, not even to you, but you modeled it, you picked it up because that became your environment. And, this is a broader conversation. So when you're looking into that sort of philosophy, you want to look at, and we did dive into this into the Freedom Hack program, is to where did we get these thoughts, these beliefs, these ideas from? But I strongly encourage you to look at what is the language that you're using. And then again, when we're looking at organizations and corporations, what language are they using? Is it in alignment with the mission, vision, and values of the organization, right? And we are an organization as well. Each of us, we have our own mission, vision, and values, and they are described through language. So as we're looking at our TV, our transformational language, what can we notice that we can improve upon? And of course, there are the basics, things like eliminating words like try or should or hope. These words are not necessarily destructive, but they're not very powerful in resolution. They're not resolute. They're not commitment. They're not decisions. They're openings. They're, if I were to say to you, I should call you, what am I really saying? That I'm not going to call, or I'm going to try and do X, Y, and Z. And what have I just said? Well, I have an out. I didn't say I was going to. I said I was going to try. I tried. So these little things are things to notice, but we also want to look at some more insidious bits of language. The idea of, I can't do that, or I'm too old, or what if I fail, right? All of these beliefs, all of our belief systems, all of our values are wrapped within and described through language. So as a master practitioner and trainer of neurolinguistic programming, we're able to unpack and look at how specific language is affecting every area of our lives, and if it is destructive or constructive. So just food for thought. And this is something that is sparking a little idea, and realize that you have more opportunities to grow, and you're using your internal language, asking questions like, this is interesting. Ooh, this applies in my life. I see how I use my language. And right now you're using language to notice how you're using your language. Maybe it's a good time to get present to how we can transform it. So watch your TV. If you have more questions, more conversations, more ideas, please reach out. You could go to ifreedomhacknow.com, and there's a free training there on our belief systems, on how to transform our lives, how to earn more, how to love more, how to ultimately be more. And I don't want to sound like the old army, be all that you can be. But it's true that the only thing stopping you and I is you and I, is that conversation, is our transformational language. So with that being said, I love you for who you are and who you aren't, and we will see you very soon.